Hello, my name is Mark King. This is my module for submission regarding the concerns about human leadership that surface in our reading for this week. The concern about human leadership is laid out in full detail in the warning that God gave Samuel to deliver after the Israelites had demanded a king, specifically in 1 Samuel 8 verses 10 through 18. Now, to paraphrase, God warns them that the king will take their sons, make them serve with his chariots and horses, that he will assign commanders over thousands, command others to plow his ground and reap his harvest. He will take their daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers, take the best of their fields and vineyards and olive groves and give them to his attendants, take a tenth of their grain, take their best male and female servants and their best cattle and donkeys for his own use, take a tenth of the flocks, etc., etc., etc. Basically, it talks a lot about just abusing the leadership that's going to be given to that king. Now, another thing that it points out is that God warns is that basically that there will be no turning back from the decision. When that day comes, they will cry out for relief from the king that they have chosen, but the Lord will not answer them in that day. Now, this passage is a warning regarding the appointment of a king, but it's really a baseline for a lot of the issues with regard to human leadership, especially with what we read for this week. You're talking about greed, entitlement, selfish ambition, abuse of power, and trust. We see threads of this throughout the reading for this module. In Joshua, we see Achan from the tribe of Judah taking spoils that was to be set apart for the Lord after battle. In Judges, we see Abimelech abuse his lineage, specifically his lineage to Gideon, to gain favor and power, and eventually to have his 70 brothers killed just to gain that power and kingship over the city of Shechem. In 1 Samuel, we see Eli's sons of the priestly tribes demanding the best meat from those sacrificing. Those same men were actually sleeping with the women serving the entrance to the tabernacle, so again, abusing their power and authority. We also see Saul make similar mistake to Achan in not destroying everything when battling the Amalekites, keeping the spoils for himself, which of course we all know eventually led to God even saying that he regretted appointing Saul king, which in turn eventually led to the kingship of David. And in 2 Samuel, we know the popular story of David, where he abused his power, sending Uriah, the husband of Bathsheba, to the front lines to die after an adulterous relationship between Bathsheba and David. That also resulted in a child. So the warning that God gave Samuel after the Israelites demanded a king is clear. It's a power not really fit for human being. It's an easily manipulated power. But what does that say about leadership in general? I mean, God clearly appoints leaders. Abraham, Joseph, Moses. He even allows for the establishment of kings despite his warning and knowing how it would turn out. Leadership is a part of our reality. Even us. We're called to Christian ministry, which is a form of leadership. So it's not that leadership is bad, it's that the superior type of leadership, specifically with a king, can lead to a lot of abuse of power. And I think even though leadership positions don't always assume kingship, there is an abuse of power that could happen. It also seems to be a key area of weakness, human weakness. It's an area where humans are given the easiest opportunity to break part of the commandments of God. We know that Jesus spoke about the 10 commandments being basically two: love God and love other people. Now, as future leaders, especially in Christianity, I think it's extremely important to always acknowledge where our leadership comes from. I think Moses had an idea where his leadership came from, as did, obviously Abraham and a lot of the leaders, and probably even the kings. But these examples that I spoke about are reminders of how easy it is to misuse the leadership that's given. For me, this assignment basically reminded me of the weight of that leadership. it can't be taken lightly. Leadership doesn't have to involve kingship either, as I said. It's an easy place for us to be susceptible to abusing the leadership that's given, to manipulate, to be greedy. I mean, these are all a part of the sinful nature that humans have, that we're saved from through the grace of Jesus Christ. I think we are all called to leadership in some form or fashion, whether even we're Christian ministers or not. We can easily assume that from the Great Commission, where we accept Jesus as our Savior, and then we're called to disciple others. That's a form of leadership. So let's think about that, though. We're training to be leaders in ministry. As Christians, we are leaders. We're not talking about managing profits and losses, keeping people employed, or making the right decisions and having the vision to push a company towards being a leader of a given field or industry. We're talking about people's eternal souls. Let's not forget the weight of that leadership. I pray that we take it very seriously, and especially that we don't carry that weight alone. We have each other, and we have Christ. Have a great weekend, everybody.